Part 1. The emotional storm of modern love. Have you ever looked back at a relationship and thought, why did I stay so long? Why did I ignore the red flags? Why do I keep choosing the same kind of person, even when I know better? You're not broken for wondering that. You're human. In a world full of dating apps, relationship coaches, and endless advice videos, so many of us are still silently battling the same deep ache. We keep getting pulled back into toxic love, to people who mirror our wounds more than our worth, to dynamics that drain us, but feel familiar. And here's the twist that makes it so painful. You can be smart, intuitive, even emotionally aware, and still fall into the trap. Over and over again. Why? Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, offers a radically deep answer. He believed that the people we're drawn to romantically, especially in intense or painful ways, are not chosen by accident. They are mirrors, reflections of something inside us, projections from the unconscious that are asking, begging to be seen. This isn't about blame. It's about revelation. Because once you understand why these patterns repeat, you can finally break them, not by finding the perfect partner, but by becoming whole yourself. Let's take that journey. Part 2. Jung's map of the heart. Love as a mirror. Carl Jung didn't see love as a fairy tale. He saw it as an alchemical process, a sacred fire that burns away illusion and reveals the truth. He said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Love transforms us not just through pleasure, but through pain. Jung believed that much of what we call love is actually projection. We don't just fall in love with the other person. We fall in love with a piece of ourselves we've projected onto them. Your longing, your wounds, your desires, your unmet needs, all these swirl in the unconscious. And when someone comes along who activates them, you don't just like them. You recognize them, even if they're emotionally unavailable. Even if they hurt you, they feel familiar, because they echo something deep in your inner world. And unless you've met that part of yourself, unless you've done the inner work, your unconscious will keep trying to get your attention through people who trigger it. Not to punish you, but to heal you. Part 3. Why we repeat the same patterns. You may have noticed this cycle. You attract a partner who excites you deeply, but soon drains you. You try to fix or save them. You betray your own needs to keep the peace. You leave or they leave, and you're left feeling shattered. Then, a new person comes along. They seem different, but months later, you're in the same dynamic again. It's like a loop. Jung would say this isn't randomness. It's your complexes at work. A complex is an emotionally charged bundle of memories, beliefs, and wounds stored in your unconscious. If you grew up with emotional neglect, you might feel magnetized to partners who withhold affection. If you were taught that love has to be earned, you might chase people who are always just out of reach. It's not conscious. It's primal. Your psyche is trying to solve the original wound by replaying it again and again. But here's the hard truth. You can't heal in the same pattern that broke you. You heal by stepping outside of it, by bringing the unconscious to light, by asking, what part of me feels at home in this chaos? What am I really seeking in them that I haven't found in myself? Part 4. The anima and animus, your inner lover. Jung taught that every person has an inner masculine and feminine, no matter their gender. He called these energies the anima, feminine, and animus, masculine. They live in the unconscious and deeply shape who we're attracted to and how we love. Let's say you're a woman. Your unconscious animus might influence what kind of man you're drawn to. If your animus is wounded, you might feel pulled to controlling, distant, or aggressive men. If you're a man, your anima might draw you to emotionally volatile or idealized women, not because of who they are, but because your inner feminine is unintegrated. This is why we fall so deeply for certain people. They activate our inner lover, our fantasy, our missing part. But if that inner figure is wounded, your external relationships will mirror that pain. To heal it, you don't need to change who you're attracted to. You need to integrate the missing part of you, to get to know your anima or animus, to face your inner fears of intimacy, to love the rejected pieces within. Then, the outer love begins to change, because it's no longer a cry for completion. It's a conscious choice. Part 5. Shadow work and emotional triggers. Let's talk about the shadow. Jung said the shadow is the part of you that you don't want to see. It's made up of the traits you were told were unacceptable: anger, vulnerability, neediness, passion, desire, power. You buried them, but they didn't die. They just went unconscious. And guess what? You now meet your shadow through your partners. The things that trigger you the most in others, they often reflect your repressed shadow. Maybe you attract manipulative partners because part of you learned to be passive and avoid conflict, so your inner aggressor seeks expression through others. Maybe you resent neediness because you never allowed yourself to have needs. This is the painful beauty of relationships. They reveal your shadow, and every trigger is a door, a sacred opportunity to ask, what am I feeling right now? What part of me is being touched? What truth have I been afraid to admit to myself? Shadow work isn't about blaming yourself for being hurt. It's about reclaiming the parts of you that keep choosing pain, so you can finally choose something better. Part 6. Trauma loops and repetition compulsion. Freud called it repetition compulsion. Jung expanded on it. The idea is this: we are driven to repeat unresolved trauma, not because we enjoy it, but because we unconsciously hope to resolve it. That's why so many people feel addicted to toxic love. It's not the love, it's the familiarity of the wound. If your nervous system learned that love equals chaos, you will feel safe in chaos and unsafe in peace. If love meant betrayal, you may sabotage when things feel too good. That's not weakness, that's a trauma loop. But here's the fire: you can interrupt it. Every time you pause and notice the pattern, every time you sit with discomfort instead of reacting, every time you choose peace over chaos, you break the spell. You reclaim your power. You begin to rewire your heart. Part 7. Conscious love versus unconscious desire. There's a difference between unconscious attraction and conscious love. Unconscious attraction says, I need you to complete me. I crave your validation. I'll lose myself to keep you. Conscious love says, I see you clearly, and I still choose you. I know my wounds, and I won't make you responsible for them. I'm whole already, and I want to grow with you. Jung believed that the greatest love is born not from need, but from individuation. When two whole people who have faced their own shadows come together, love becomes a sacred space of transformation. Not a battlefield, not a rescue mission, but a mirror of mutual evolution. That is real intimacy. That is what you're capable of. But first, you must become conscious. Part 8. The path of individuation in relationships. Individuation is Jung's word for the journey of becoming whole. It means integrating all the parts of yourself: the light and the dark, the masculine and the feminine, the child and the adult, the wounded and the wise. And here's the truth Jung knew: you can't skip this process and expect healthy love, because you won't find it outside until you find it inside. Individuation is the foundation of conscious relationships. It teaches you to hold your boundaries without guilt, honor your needs without shame, love without losing yourself, walk away when your soul says no, even if your trauma says stay. Individuation isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. And real love can only meet you where you are real. Part 9. Practical steps to break the cycle. Let's bring this home. Here are 5 practical steps, rooted in Jungian psychology, to help you break toxic love patterns. Write the pattern. Map out your past relationships. What traits do your partners share? What wounds do they touch? Own your projection. Ask, what am I projecting onto this person? Withdraw the fantasy. See them clearly. Do shadow work. Journal your triggers. What do they reveal about your hidden parts? Connect with your anima/animus. Meditate. Dream. Reflect. What qualities in the opposite energy are you denying? Commit to conscious love. Don't settle for drama. Don't chase a fix. Choose people who honor your growth. Healing doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. It means your pain no longer chooses your partners. Part 10. Final words. The alchemy of love. If you've been through toxic love, if you've cried over someone who couldn't see you, if you've lost yourself in trying to be enough, know this: you are not broken. You are awakening. Every heartbreak has been a teacher. Every trigger a torch. Every pattern a portal back to yourself. Carl Jung didn't promise us easy love. He promised us true love, the kind that begins within. So if you want better love, don't look outside. Look within. Love the lost parts of you. Face your shadows. Honor your truth. Because when you become whole, you no longer attract people who break you. You attract people who match your healing, who respect your boundaries, who see your soul. And that is love worth waiting for.